Coming to get you, Bobber.
Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing not a ranking for the Michael Myers in the franchise. I'm just going to be telling you the best Michael Myers in the entire franchise, along with some of the other ones that I do really like, and I'll give you the reasons why. Now, I did do a ranking for this a couple of years ago after Halloween 2018 came out, because I had to include James Jude Courtney on the list. But over time, from then until now, especially after seeing Halloween Kills, I think my list has changed a little bit, and I'll give you the reasons why. So I'm going to start with Dick Warlock. Now, he's not one of my best. I want to mention Dick Warlock because I know that Dick Warlock is a fan favourite amongst a lot of Halloween fans, so I think it's best to include him in a discussion in this video. Now, although he's not near the top of my list, I still want to give him a mention because he was good for his time. But my biggest issue with Dick Warlock was his robotic walking in Halloween 2. It was completely different to Nick Castle's performance as Michael Myers in Halloween 1. If Dick Warlock maybe was Michael Myers down the line and he walked like that, maybe it would have been a little bit better. But because it was set on the same night, I just couldn't accept the way he walked in this one. Now, I know that some of the fan theories are, well, he's walking like that because he fell from a height and he was shot, etc. We don't really use that as an excuse, to be honest. Dick Warlock just walked differently. Some people have this notion in their head that the original Michael Myers, Nick Castle's Michael Myers, walked really slow. And he didn't. He didn't walk slow at all. He walked pretty fast. And if you watch Halloween from 1978, you will see that he walked pretty fast. He just didn't run. And when he did walk slow, it wasn't when he was chasing anyone, it was when he was stalking. Whereas in Dick Warlock's version of Michael Myers, he just walked very slow and robotic throughout the whole entire movie, and it was off-putting. I'm going to give a mention to George P. Wilbur because he did play Michael Myers twice. He played Michael in Halloween 4 and also Michael in The Curse of Michael Myers. And I'll give props to George P. Wilbur because he seems to play Michael based on what the director wants him to do, on how he wants to be. Now, it seems like he doesn't really be Michael Myers in the way that he envisions Michael. He's basically been told how to portray Michael Myers because he was completely different from Halloween 4 to The Curse of Michael Myers. He was a lot bigger in The Curse of Michael Myers because he was a little bit older as well. But he was a lot more menacing in The Curse of Michael Myers. Whereas in Halloween 4 he was a little bit stocky, not as in height wise, but he stalked his victims a lot. And his walk was a little bit better than Dick Warlock's. But I've mentioned him on the list because he does portray Michael in completely different ways, and that's pretty well done by George P. Wilbur. Now, I'm going to do a top 3 because I think these 3 are the strongest for me. Now, you won't all agree with me. In fact, I know in my number 3 spot, which I will mention in a second, I know there's going to be outrage. Some of you will know exactly who this is going to be, but we're going to get into the top 3. And at number 3 is Chris Durand from Halloween H2O. Now, I know that some people think, whoa, wait a minute, you can see his eyes, he's a terrible Michael Myers. Well, Chris Durand didn't design the mask, even though I do like the mask. Chris Durand didn't design the mask, so we can't blame Chris Durand for how the mask looks in Halloween. Now, obviously it does help if the mask is a lot better, but he portrayed Michael with that mask on. Wasn't his choice. Now, yes, he didn't see all the Halloween movies before he saw this movie, but he was a stuntman in the Scream movie, or Scream movies, and he was a stuntman after all, just like the rest of the stuntmen that played Michael Myers. And I know that some people say as well, but he's too small to play Michael Myers. Well, no, he's 3 inches taller than Nick Castle, so he's not too small to play Michael. I think over the years Michael got a little bit taller and more unrealistic, but with H2O they wanted Michael to get back to basics, to get back to the way he used to be. So they brought his height down a little bit more to be more in line with the original Michael Myers, with Nick Castle basically. So his height and his build was probably the closest to Nick Castle as it has ever been at that point back in 1998. People say he walks too fast. Well, no, he doesn't. He walks the same speed as Nick Castle. All you're doing is remembering Michael getting slower and slower and slower as the movies go by. But what they do in H2O is they bring Michael back up to speed. They make him walk the same speed as he did in the original Halloween from 1978. So I think the reason that Chris Durand is on the list is because he's more in line with Nick Castle. He's more in line with the original Michael Myers from 1978, height wise, build wise, and speed wise. Now there are some downsides to Chris Durand, and that is one, the mask. For some people, again, the mask I do like, but the mask that's not Chris Durand's fault. Also, the stalking or the lack of stalking in H2O is not Chris Durand's fault either. He's only doing what he's asked to do. If the material was a little bit better for Chris Durand and the costume itself with the mask was a little bit better, maybe he would be even higher on my list. I know there's a lot of flaws for Chris Durand, but there's a lot more flaws for the other Michaels in the franchise than there are with Chris Durand. So for that reason, Chris Durand is in the top 3. And at number 2 is Nick Castle, the original Michael Myers. Yes, he does portray Michael a few more times, but they're only in cameo roles. But obviously the pivotal role for him was Michael in 1978. Now because he was the original Michael Myers, there was no one to compare with. So as he was the original Michael, he was the best at the time because he was the only Michael. Any Michaels that came after Nick Castle's portrayal of Michael Myers were either trying to copy him or outdo him, but nobody was able to do that at all. Obviously he's number 2, so eventually somebody did, in my opinion. But Nick Castle's performance as the Shape, as Michael Myers, is always going to be up there in the top 1 or 2 for most people. And again, it's all thanks to Dean Cundey, Deborah Hill, John Carpenter, everyone involved in creating that Michael Myers. Tommy Lee Wallace as well. You know, the look of Michael is thanks to all the crew. The way it's directed is thanks to John Carpenter. The way he looked on screen was thanks to Dean Cundey. The way he was written in that role was thanks to Deborah Hill and John Carpenter. Everyone had input on this Michael Myers, and although they pulled in a random friend in Nick Castle to portray Michael Myers, Nick Castle gave it his all. Whether you think he did or not, he gave it his all, and that performance as Michael Myers wasn't beaten until recently. And at number 1 is James Jude Courtney. Now James Jude Courtney will be the first person to portray Michael Myers 3 times on screen, and when I say 3 times, I don't mean in any cameo roles, I mean in a fully fledged Michael Myers. He will portray Michael for a 3rd time in Halloween Ends. That means his performance could go down on the list. It could stay at the top depending on his performance for Halloween Ends. But his performance in Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills was enough for me to put him at number 1. Now I was toying with the idea when Halloween 2018 came out. Is he better than Nick Castle? Is he not? But I think his performance in Halloween Kills brought it to number 1 for me. Yes, Halloween Kills has its flaws, but when you're looking at Michael Myers, when you're looking at James Jude Courtney, one of the best things, if not the best thing about Halloween Kills is Michael Myers, and that's all thanks to James Jude Courtney. Michael was scary. Michael was intimidating. The look of Michael was scary as well. And again, it's not just thanks to James Jude Courtney in that aspect, it's thanks to everyone else behind the scenes that made Michael Myers the way he was. But in order to give Michael Myers the vision that they were looking for, they had to get not just a stuntman, but someone who can act as well. And I'm sure James Jude Courtney as a stuntman can do a bit of acting as well. He was an actor in some earlier roles. But the look of James Jude Courtney, now we've got to remember, we see James Jude Courtney's face more times than we do any other Michael Myers in the whole entire franchise, apart from the Rob Zombie movies, but we're not going to include those. But in this franchise, out with the remakes, we see James Jude Courtney's face, and although most of it's blurred, we have to get that vision that he is this blank, pale, emotionless face with the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, etc. He has to portray that without really doing much, and I think he does that in both movies so far. Obviously time will tell with Halloween Ends, but for the first 2 movies that James Jude Courtney has been in, he was flawless. Now yes, he was obviously basing his performance on Nick Castle's performance as Michael Myers, and I think because we see more of James Jude Courtney now as Michael Myers than Nick Castle, I think more can go wrong with James Jude Courtney's performance, but because nothing went wrong and his performances have been perfect for me, that's why it puts him at number 1. So that is my top 3, guys, with a couple of honourable mentions. I know that top 3 is not going to be very favourable to some people. Yes, maybe the top 2 is maybe 1 and 2 could be mixed around for some people, but I know Chris Durand is probably on the bottom of a lot of people's lists. I don't know why, to be honest, and some of the reasons that I'm hearing are a little bit questionable, because some people are saying, oh, he's too small, he's too light, he walks too fast. Well, no, he doesn't. If you watch Halloween from 1978 and Halloween H2O back to back, you will see there's a lot of similarities between Nick Castle and Chris Durand. But again, that's just me trying to defend my top 3. Let me know your top 3. Maybe you have Chris Durand as well, who knows? But leave your comments down below. Let me know your top 3. Give me your reasons why. Also, let me know what you think of my top 3, because I know that some of you will hate me for it. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.